Wake up, it's 2001. Possibly the most chaotic year in human history. Get out of here. Get. Windows XP, Harry Potter, Linkin Park. Human intellect was at a peak. We were saving up time by combining words like chill and relax. We just said chillax. We were cool like that. But we needed an equally cool console that didn't have the name of a sex toy. And so Microsoft didn't contend in releasing one of the best operating systems the whole world has ever seen. No. They also got a console with an X on it. I mean, look at this beauty, man. And it was presented with Bill Gates and The Rock in the same stage. This is insane, man.
That's fascinating.
This is history. This is nerds and jocks hand in hand together, embracing a hobby that they now were united by. There's no possible way that this innovative, youthful, and consumer-friendly brand could possibly ever pull some bullshit. Oh, man. As PlayStation had a recent case of dumbfucktitis by attempting to destroy essentially the game of the year, Xbox, being the competitive brand that it is, said, hold my fucking beer. This is some new play, I can do better than that. Oh, you're out here killing games? Well, I'm just gonna kill companies instead. Not one, not two, technically also not four, because that would be too much, but three. Three companies deleted my Microsoft.
This is fine.
Companies that were newborns when it comes to the Microsoft intellectual property portfolio. Even Thanos would say this is out of whack. Arcane Austin, Alpha Dog Studios, Tango Gameworks, all of them got the boot. Roundhouse Games was actually able to survive the wrath of Phil Sphincter. I'm sorry, I meant Spencer, obviously. By merging with ZeniMax Online Studios. Now, despite one of these studios actually releasing a game that actually showed some profit for Xbox, which was Hi-Fi Rush, which, by the way, might have been a huge shock to the employees of Xbox. I'm pretty sure they had to be taught on the onboarding what the word profit actually means, because they haven't seen that shit in a while. Which, admittedly, that game to me looks such a blast from the past, but still being a very recent title. It kind of reminds me of Ratchet & Clank, with visuals so unique and comforting, yet to think people are going to be penalized for actually making quality games in an era where that is as rare as me obeying speed limits. Don't speed, kids. To have a game that essentially revitalized Xbox in the internet forums should have been something that saves your company from downsizing. All this chaos under the pretense of, and I quote, prioritizing high-impact titles, like what, Starfield? Better not. And further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games and beloved worlds which you have nurtured over many decades. You see, you kind of failed to do that yourself, but okay. I'll say that the last name Booty kind of fits this quote very well, because this is a Booty statement. Nobody believes this. Maybe it wasn't the fact that Bethesda executives are creatively bankrupt. No. It's way too many people. Too much talent. Get out of here. Just get out. What are you doing here? It makes you question why these multi-million-dollar companies are so obsessed with the investment budget when they spend millions in out-of-touch ideas that no player ever asked for. Almost kind of forcing tastes into players instead of being the opposite, the player telling you what they want to play. Meanwhile, one random guy that did Roblox games for a while designed a whole horror game that actually broke the internet in less than a week. Oh, shit! The math is not mathing here. Even though it seems like the Xbox is doing these murders recently, the company hasn't been in the best spot for years now. And honestly, decisions like these could make sense in companies that you hold for a long time, where the development is more of a legacy and is not really generating a lot of profit. But this isn't the case, as Xbox acquired Bethesda in 2021. Clearly, it's not these companies wasting money in human resources. It goes a little bit back to executive decisions. Listen, as someone who played PC for a long time and was a PlayStation fanboy in my very hormonal years, I have to be honest, Xbox defined a whole generation. Doesn't matter if you're a PlayStation fanboy, PC master race, cult follower, you have to agree that Xbox shaped many teenage and young adults' lives. The 2000s where boys became men. Those Xbox Live parties were not, and I mean not, following the Geneva Convention. I'll tell you this much.
Yeah, I had 2 bullets in my head.
Racial slurs and mama jokes? Welcome. But this was also the time where console war was at its peak. The whole point of choosing one console or the other would be based on the fact of what kind of games they offer in each. That line is a bit blurred now, as Xbox and PlayStation games kind of go to PC, as PC being this neutral ground. But the purpose of buying a specific console for a specific game is not as accentuated. It doesn't really matter. Xbox is not... It's a speck in the competition. Rewind to early 2000s and Halo was breaching ground beyond gaming.
One of the most eagerly awaited video games finally goes on sale.
Preparing to rewrite retail history.
Even your 70-year-old Fox News watching neighbor knew what the hell a Halo was. More than 50% of Xbox consoles sold at the time were sold with the first Halo game, Halo Combat Evolved. And we're not even talking about the best Halo of all time, which is clearly the second. And I'll fight any man, any woman, any child that disagrees with me. Try me. With $125 million in revenue in one day. God damn. Also, let's not forget that we're talking about an American brand here. And as you talk about Americans, one thing was always evident. They sure love their country. So much so they call it America, even though that's not the actual country. That's the whole goddamn continent. But fuck it. If they can take the moon, they can take any goddamn name they want.
That's the American way.
What I'm saying is that little pride never hurt nobody. That factor clearly helped Xbox establish itself in the American market first. This was a tough feat to do, with powerhouses like PlayStation and Nintendo, that even though they were Japanese companies, they were pretty much conquering the world. Kind of like payback for World War II or something, I don't know. I wasn't good at history. That's why we recall so fondly of those Xbox Live parties, even though their mere existence was an attack to humanity. At this point, American teenagers and young adults didn't really give a crap about insensitivity when they were going through a crazy recession.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
All in all, it was a little bit of a good timing situation, because maybe people had to realize that PlayStation holding a monopoly didn't necessarily make PlayStation any better. For the consumer at least, their pockets must have been fat. But Xbox kind of balanced the scales for the gamers here. They knew that in providing things that PlayStation couldn't would give them a fighting chance in dominating the international market as well. That never happened, but the intention was good. They looked for exclusive deals with major franchises at the time like Star Wars, such as the Knights of the Old Republic. Oh my god, just talking about it. Oh, I gotta clean myself here. But not to the point of almost making it kind of a gimmick, the only thing they rely on. Xbox was able to snatch Gears of War, which before Fortnite, this was actually what Epic was doing. An actual good game. I'm gonna piss off so many people with that. Which, I mean, is a franchise that has chainsaws. That's all I have to say. I mean, that's enough said, you know. Forza Horizon, that offered something that PlayStation couldn't, which was a racing game that technically wasn't about street racing like Need for Speed, but it wasn't a circuit racer like Gran Turismo either. Mass Effect, that was a version of Star Wars, but with sexy aliens and computers. Damn, what I would pay to insert some RAM into that motherboard, god damn. Xbox didn't limit a customer either. Multiplayer wasn't the only appeal they had over PlayStation, as these games captivated a whole generation in meaningful but fun campaigns. This is where those funky little details start lining up. You see, I'm not obsessed over sales numbers in this case, because when it came to this, PlayStation was kicking Nintendo's and Xbox's little butts. If PlayStation could be compared to Activision in terms of scale, Xbox would be Pocket Pair, you know, the developers of Power World. This analogy doesn't stop here, because you would assume that a much bigger company could do way much more, way much better than a company that had about like 40 stray cats working in a tight little office. But like Activision in recent years, PlayStation was failing in a perspective of giving players what they actually wanted, while Xbox did what Pal World did, which was to drop all the bullshit and just make a game that people want to play. Halo alone was carrying Xbox on its back. But maybe this is what highlighted Xbox so much. Xbox knew that they couldn't beat PlayStation in a numbers game. They had to bring things up that PlayStation was still lacking. And as I previously brought up, Xbox Live was huge at the time. Like, massive. Hey, get your eyes up here, man. PlayStation was still lacking in its social environment and multiplayer capabilities. That's why in meme culture, you always think of those crazy Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 lobbies being played out in Xbox Live Party chats, which I hope nobody got access to that. FBI would be very much interested in. PlayStation didn't have an equivalent of this. They did not really define what it meant to play with someone else across 1,000 miles between. Xbox knew that it would highlight itself in providing good customer service and focusing on the main thing. I nearly died. I want to say fun. Fun. And listen, dude, you talk with any guy that is over 30 years of age, and he's still gonna pick up a stick off the ground and pretend like it's a gun. It doesn't take much to entertain a man, okay? And Xbox was aware. That's why Halo, or Bungie rather, didn't have such a massive budget, or even installations of that kind. I mean, these guys were eating pizza off the ground, like a bunch of frat boys, while developing Halo, for God's sake. That is some badass shit, man. But hey, if food is homemade, it's gonna taste homemade. This is what the essence of gaming was. The studios that Xbox had deals with employed the demographic itself that they catered to. It was games for gamers by gamers.
What are you working on there?
I'm playing Fable.
Playing another game?
Yes.
However, a company that is called Micro and Soft is bound to disappoint at some time. And believe me, I know. As the Antichrist was sworn to spawn on Earth, so did Xbox One. 2013 was good, man. We had GTA 5. We didn't need this. Whatever that is. In a way to summarize what the Xbox One meant for gamers, I think I can better classify it as a very fancy, good-looking decoration piece. I don't know. Because nothing screams gaming pleasure like a $300 Netflix box. Why was this created, man? Why do you exist? What kind of demographic were they chasing by including all these streaming services at the expense of proper hardware and good titles? Xbox issues went beyond just the release of a crappy-ass console, but this is a good mark to mark, I guess. My scripts are shit. This catastrophic timeline. All those successful franchises that I just mentioned, forget about it. Bungie had the decency to say, hey man, we're out of ideas here. Halo has to stop here unless we renegotiate some new timelines and profit sharing. And Microsoft, being the reasonable company that it was, said, get the hell out of my headquarters. Don't tell me how to run my own franchise. I'll do my own casino with blackjack and hookers. While proceeding to create a whole company with no experience whatsoever in a Halo franchise to replace those greedy Bungie bastards. Little spoiler, they ended up destroying the franchise. Halo 4 and Halo 5, they just did not work. Gears of War shifted from this greedy and iconic dark mood that gave you a good workout on your bladder control to an unnecessarily colored adventure game, I guess. Mass Effect.
Whatever happened there?
Whatever happened there?
I feel like the writers also replaced the scripts for children's books.
To who? To whom? And your goddamn father. Sorry, my face is tired from dealing with everything.
And I'm gonna be nice. I'm not even gonna touch those facial animations, alright? I am not gonna touch those facial animations. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna edit it out. You're not gonna see it. I'm not gonna criticize it. Stop. But I believe the most flagrant and obvious cause of death for Xbox was their mistreatment of studios that they acquired like it was a flea market. Oh, look at all these desperate developers. Oh, I'll take you in. Oh, look at that one. That one is so cute. Come here. I can partially understand this overreaction as game sales at this time exploded during the lockdowns in 2020. Yet, I don't think it takes a genius to understand that this was going to be a temporary bubble. Microsoft's major lack of judgment was acquiring companies with no purpose. They didn't need them. And with our main boy right here, Phil Spencer, taking lead in 2022, that man did nothing more than getting L's after L's. They acquired a Call of Duty dev company, Activision, for $69 billion, which even the number itself seems like they're trolling. And Philly here has an impeccable sense of timing by acquiring Activision after they make actual good games. They spend $1 billion in all-around budget for Modern Warfare 3 to get ratings like this. To make things even juicier, he lays off nearly 2,000 people right after Christmas. God damn, that's cold. That's cold. Woo! And the companies they recently laid off now, they were bought in 2021. They didn't even have time to breathe. The reality is that indecision is worse than bad decisions. And I can promise you that Microsoft could have made all these companies work. At the very least in the combined effort to actually deliver games that people wanted to play. But when you compare it to a competitor like PlayStation, that is able to even sell more games outside of its own platform on a PC, with the case of Helldivers 2, with solid franchises like Spider-Man and God of War that still kick ass today, you quickly realize this is barely anything to do with profitability, and mostly with executive decisions that are either rushed or caused by a long period of indecision itself. Xbox chose to become irrelevant. And the funny part is, they made every single bad mistake in a situation where they could have flipped the market share and genuinely beat PlayStation. And some will say Xbox should just focus on making games from this point on. I mean, just give up on the consoles. But all I ask is, what games?